Hey everyone, my name is John and welcome back to another video discussing how to prevent back injuries. So in the last two videos we talked about kind of some overall things in regards to your workouts and recovery and stuff like that, even down to nutrition, sleep and rest and stuff like that. So today we're going to get into a little bit more details specifically concerning our back. Very often many of us at one point or another have injured our back, whether it be just a minor strain that goes away for in a few days to something that's much more lasting and sometimes chronic. So today I want to talk about some ways we can prevent those things and some things we can do in our day-to-day activities to also help reduce those chances of injury. So one of the most important things we can worry or do to prevent back injuries is to simply strengthen our core. Now a lot of times when we hear the term core, we think about our abdominal muscles, but there's more than just that. We're talking about that entire trunk area from our waist up towards our chest and all the way around. So we're talking about our abdominal muscles, the obliques on the side, all the way into those lower back muscles. And what we want to do is take into consideration some exercises that work all of those muscles in some sort of synergy. You'll see a lot of different ab routines will work from holding a plank, which is working a lot of the muscles at once, to doing some form of crunch, side lifts to work the sides, crunches to work the front, and then we'll do some kind of work on our stomachs or in that plank, which again engages that lower back. So we want to have that whole core strong, and that in general helps to make sure that everything can work together, because a lot of the muscles in our body work in pairs. Just like our biceps contract our arm to pull in and our triceps extend it out, our back and our abdominal muscles work together in much that same way, with our obliques adding some stability and some side movements. Another thing to consider is flexibility. A lot of times we see people when they go to bend over to pick something up, they do just that. They roll their back over and bend over to grab something, putting a lot of stress on our back. Our back is very strong, but it needs to stay in a neutral position or slightly arched as we use our legs to lift and we allow our spine to somewhat compress as it can hold tight from that position. It's that transition when we go from that arch back to rolling over forward that we can cause significant pain and injury in our backs. So a lot of times when people bend over to do something, they simply don't have the flexibility to get down to the floor. It's either hamstring tightness or calf tightness, or sometimes even in our hip flexors. So what you can do to help prevent those injuries is work on your flexibility. Make sure that when you lean over with a flat back, you can easily touch your toes and the floor. If you can't touch your toes yet, you're at that increased risk for injury, so that's something you want to work on. And finally, another thing we want to worry about is just trying to pick up too much. Once we have our form down, and when we squat down, our shoulders are back, our chest is up, and we descend equally between our shoulders and our hips without bending and rolling our back forward. If we try to pick up too much, oftentimes as we go to lift, our legs are stronger and they start to come up while our back doesn't, and it starts to arch. And it's that arching that can cause a problem. So make sure you're not trying to lift too much, and if it's something that you need to move, get some help or some kind of device for material handling to help you pick that up. Next thing I want to move into is some of our day-to-day activities that we can look at to help prevent more of that chronic pain. This isn't so much the severe injuries that you can cause by lifting too much and having your back transition, as far as just that overall pain that we get, that slight pain that just never seems to go away. And one of the best things we can look at is our posture. If we're sitting at our desk, a lot of us sit here and we roll over forward and we put our head up so that we can look at it. Our neck is compressed, our shoulders are forward, our back is rolled. What we need to do is make sure that we are up straight, our shoulders are back, and our head is above our neck and spine. That increased posture will help prevent that soreness in our back. Next thing we want to do is we're always trying to pick things up, whether it's our kids or anything else. Goes back to what we were saying before. Make sure you have that proper form. You want to make sure you're not doing anything too awkward. When you're lifting, you want to make sure that you're grabbing something that is in front of you and as close to you as possible. That's our third tip, is to keep the weight close. If you're reaching out for something, or if you're twisting, you're not picking something up that's awkward, and with that extension, you're just adding leverage against you. So try and keep that weight as close to your chest as possible when you're lifting, and that will help keep things in alignment. And finally, keep in mind that repetition can be a very big problem. Even if you're doing something very light or no weights at all, if you continue to move in the same direction over and over and over again, like putting something on a shelf, if you have a whole bunch of little boxes and you're putting them up, that repetition is going to cause additional strain. And though not one movement is going to hurt you, that prolonged movement over time can wear out your back. or any other muscles for that matter. And just like any other muscle that gets tired, as you use it, it will become fatigued, your form will break down, and if you continue moving, that's when those chances for those injuries occur. That repetition usually is that aching back when you wake up the next morning and you're kind of sore moving around, as opposed to that severe muscle pull or spinal injury that can result from doing very heavy lifting. So sometimes we just forget that the little tiny things can be accumulative and have that bigger impact on us the next day. So there's my tips for helping to prevent injury, everything from some strengthening prevention to some day-to-day things to just kind of be more aware of in our body movements so that we know what's going on. Thanks again for watching. My name is John, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe down below. Thanks again for watching.